new hardware. Got all its pretty new hardware. I gotta weld this to that bracket yet, but for the most part, this is done. Let's see if we can get it to focus. We got it fully welded all the way around. Everything I did the best I could with the 03 O wire I'm running on this MIG. Didn't do a bad job. Didn't burn through anywhere. It's a little bubble gummed in a couple places, but yeah, it's alright. Now I'm getting ready to clean it up a little bit, paint it. That little spot right there, when I'm done, is the new spot for the tensioner. You'll see here in just a little bit. Alright, so after a couple trips to the parts store, I finally got this worked out belt-wise. Now, not many V-belts run with a backer type tensioner. Usually the tensioner is on the inside, but I've seen a few done this way with success, and it gives great wrap on the supercharger. Everything's turning good, so I have to fix the belt alignment on the alternator because it's shimmed forward probably about 30 thousandths. So I need to take 30 off the back bushing, add a 30 thousandths thick washer to the front. That's done. I've already spaced the bracket back here that way to make it parallel with the block. So that's all done. And so now this is all ready to put together. This is finally done. So I'm going to take my flap wheel and I'm going to round off the edges, give that a coat of paint, and that should be it for that. And then next step will be putting the pistons in here. I've already got the rings file fit, but I saved a set to show you how to do it. So stay tuned. Gotten the new hardware for the sway bar. You can see they're internal type rather than the external type that don't quite fit because of the space concerns. So these will be a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and run these in. And there they are. And they're nice. Clear everything. Alright, on to the torque tube. Because I'm finishing up everything all at the same time. Alright, so as you see here, it says thread area. And right here, under the car, would be where the two holes in the floor are for the torque arm mount. So this centers with those holes. In theory, I'd want the center of this eyelet in the center of those holes because of the way I'm going to build the bracket. So what I've done is I used that center mark to center my joint, and then I marked the thread area. And I'm probably going to cut somewhere right there by that D, and then either thread it back if I can. I don't know that the diameter gives me enough to thread it. Worst case, this is a trial, I'll weld it in. And if it works, then I'll make another one that I can thread. But otherwise, that's what I got planned. Probably going to drill a hole through and rosette weld it as well so it doesn't pull out just in case. And I got the new hardware for back here sitting over there on the fender of the car. Got it all there in the bags ready to go. So we're going to be finishing that up. I'm going to get on that and be right back with it done. Alright, I'm going to get up underneath here. I'll show you what I got going on here now. Okay. So I started measuring for drive shaft, and what I've done here is I've got a magnet up there
on the front yoke. The drive shaft yoke in these cars is spring loaded, so I pushed it in till it bottomed out, pulled it out about 1.25 inches, and measured that position as my U-joint center, because once I let go of the drive shaft, it came back further. So that magnet is my yoke center, and I bring it back to here, and my yoke center here, I think if I remember correctly, was 43 inches. And then here is the rod end that will be going on the piece that bolted into the floor right there. So I'm going to weld that rod end in once I'm happy with its placement here in a minute. And then I'm going to build that piece that goes across there, and this rear end is done. And then I'm going to go find me 43 inches of drive shaft tube and make me a drive shaft. And then this is all done, except for drilling these, those stud holes. That is for another section of this particular video, so stay tuned.
Now, of course, this rear end swap won't be complete until the sway bar finds a home under there. So don't think I haven't forgot, or that I had forgot, rather, because I hadn't. It's here. Install kit right there, and once I've got the rest of that up underneath there done, that's going in there. Alright, here's the air filter housing. What I gotta do is I gotta get 2 more of these nuts for here, because these have got to go up top. And I need to get 2 more wing nuts for up top, and 4 more of these washers for up top. And then these 2 spots I need to hammer and dolly flat. So this will lay down flat on top of this. And then now that I've got pretty much everything welded and I'm out of weld wire, I'm gonna get some more weld wire. I can finish welding that in and then get the pieces cut and enclose this after I get the spacers and the proper hardware I need to mount this securely by 4 bolts to the top of that carburetor so it seals properly. That way we get all of the boosts down the carburetor, because boosts are good. We like boost. Now what we have when this is all done, let's see if I can line up you. And you can see how all 4 of them line up. It'll hold down, and it'll look semi-stock, because you know that's kind of what we were going for. But when you flip it over, of course, it's been fully welded all the way around both sides. This has been bent down and blended into the bottom. All I got to do is clean this up and paint it, because you know what? The grinder and paint makes me what? Some of you get that. You know the answer right in the comments. But anyway, then I got to open this hole up so I can put our blow-off valve collar on it. And then this is done. So that means this is done. And that means that bracket's done, and all of the supercharger bits are done, and the rear axle's done, and the torque arm's done. And aside from re-drilling the one axle and finishing up the front end of this car, I have to put that engine together, and everything's pretty well done. Well, I took a break today, Sunday. Everybody's normal break day. Not a normal break day for me. But I took a break because I tripped and fell over probably a dozen or so parts I had laying out here. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not. My garage is kind of a mess. So what I've been doing today, rather than getting anything done on the car, I did a much needed clean. And I stripped everything out of the garage. Check this out. I got my dirt pile and trash pile here. And I have the car poking through the door. I got a screwdriver cart that is getting ready to go into my basement, I think, because I don't use it. Or, given my newfound space here, I may use it as a roll around cart just for working on the car, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of room out here. It may go in the basement until that engine right there goes in the next car and goes away, and then it can go over here. But anywho, so you see I'm starting to mock things up the rest of the way for the front end. I have oh so much space. I gotta do something with the transmission. I think it's going to storage. I know I got a bunch of stuff going to scrap, going in the truck and going to scrap, but I managed to get the shelf somewhat organized with all Michael's things. And of course I've got my 4.9, or a spare 4.9, and a 1.4 Chevette engine back there hiding, and then my big block for the wagon. But let's see, what else did I get cleaned up today? So this pretty much is an engine stand and a parts tray away from being in the car. It's kind of a throw it together, and here it runs somewhat soon. Next day, maybe next day or two, 3, 4. I don't know. Maybe. Could be the end of the week. Could be this weekend. Who knows? It's getting done at some point this week in that car. A fuel line to run in there too. Oh boy, lots of stuff. Okay, so moving on. I managed to get my fabrication space somewhat organized. I've got sacrificial oil pans getting ready to cut up for a larger sump, and some oil control. I've got the turbo engine now residing where my engine or my parts washer was, and my parts washer, I don't know, stands now moved over here. I got rid of the extra broken air tank, finally moved my other air tank over against my sandblaster I don't use. I have my electrical cabinet to put back together because it exploded for some reason. I've got my engine run stand here ready to finish. It found a little home now that the screwdriver cabinet's going away. And I've got my row of gaskets. I've got a row of Hot Wheels cars up here too. I found them while I was working out here, and I just kind of needed a place to stick them, so that's where they went. I found my old AutoZone badge too. But I gained a little room over here next to what is now the engine build toolbox, since my son is now sharing tools out of everything now, and he doesn't really have to have his particular dedicated toolbox till he leaves my garage, and then he can empty it and take it. But for right now, that's our engine build box. It's got the engine brushes, and it has some fabrication tools in it as well, but I have it has the soft top, so it's nice for laying the pistons and things on. And I gotta finish cleaning that up a little bit. I can now access my plugs. I can get to all of my press, and I have a little bit of wall storage. So all in all, I made some pretty good progress today. I didn't have a whole lot of time
after the other half got out of work, she came home and we ordered food, and I kind of got on this until food got here. So, a couple things you'll see here, things I want to go over in the tool videos. Must needed jack stands, PPE, because that stuff's important, and tool sets, cheap tool sets, stuff you can get away with, and then we'll touch base on the more advanced stuff like the welder and some of the fabrication tools that I work with. But that's another video. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of show my hole in the wall of a garage here isn't always a total mess. On to the next stuff. Alright, well I think that just about does it for this week. I'm going to finish up the race car, and I probably won't show any more of that till the day I'm tuning it, because I'm just going to go gangbusters on it. What I may do here in the middle of the week to just to get another video out there, and since I have one already scheduled to come up, we're probably going to cover a little bit of this. So in the meantime, I'm going to finish this one up, get it in the car, and when it comes time to get it tuned and street drive it, you guys will come along with me on a couple ride-alongs. We'll get the thrash on a little bit, we'll see how it performs. And then later on this week, we're going to start going over everything about the 2-liter Opel 4-cylinder. What it looks like as of right now is this is actually going to be a really easy swap. We're going to go over what needs to happen to convert it from a front-wheel drive engine to a rear-wheel drive engine, as well as a few things that may or may not need to change, which will make things a lot easier, or it really won't make it any harder. It will just make it easier, depending on what needs to not happen to put it in the car. So we'll see how that goes. We'll touch a little bit more on this one again. In the meantime, keep the shiny side up.